strong. We've reached the last talk of the day. It's actually going to be Johnny. I don't know how you guys feel about today, but I got lots of inspiration, lots of new ideas. And new ideas and inspiration is great, but eventually you need to sit down and actually put it into practice. So I'm pretty excited that Johnny, wherever he is right now, is actually going to be speaking about implementation. There he is. Yeah, we're done. You get on stage. Thank you very much. And thanks for everything you did.
Hey everyone, how you guys feeling? Good. It's been a long, long day, especially because I woke up at 4 a.m. because I couldn't sleep. I was so excited. And sorry for waking you up at 4 a.m. as well, baby. So, today's talk is going to be about implementation. I somehow got that nickname recently, Mr. Implementation, just because I would just randomly think of something and just do it. And this summit is actually a good example of that. Less than 2 weeks ago, we were at Blah Blah Bar, and it was a big Nomad list meetup, and it was fun. It was awesome. And I was like, we get to meet all these people, get to network. There's so many people in Chiang Mai that I've never met before. And I started thinking, I was like, wow, we can learn so much from each other. There's so many great business opportunities that we can partner with. We can, we can build a team. We can, we do all these great things. But the only problem was it was really, really loud. Yes. All right. And it was more of a social event, which I think is amazing because it's, maybe you'll meet one or two people, keep in touch, and then you'll hang out somewhere quieter and learn from each other. But I started thinking, I was like, man, how cool would this be if we all met in a seminar room instead, and we can just actually learn from each other. So I just started asking people, it's like, hey, would that be a good idea? And honestly, the first 4 people didn't give me the answer I was looking for. They're like, oh, I don't know, like, I like being able to drink, I want to do something. And then I was like, then the 5th person was like, yeah, that's a great idea. I was like, okay, good. And it's one of those things where if in your mind you think that you would really enjoy it, that you would get a lot of value out of it, I'm sure there's other people who are going to get just as much value out of it. And that's what I really like about seminars like this, where there's a very wide range of speakers at all different levels. So for today, for example, you have people who are really good at teaching you how to get started. Like what are the actual steps to build a business? Like with Sean Lee's example. And that was, for some people, they're like, aha, I have a blog already, I should make videos. And he showed step by step how to make those videos. Other people are thinking, wow, I have this whole thing going on, I need to build a team now. That's what I need to do now. I need to think bigger. And every single person here is going to be at a different stage, and you're all going to connect with a different person and their different business idea. But here's the thing, is it all works. I really believe now that almost everything works. Especially if you believe in it. If it's something that you're like, you have a gut feeling. You're like, you know what? I can see that being something that would help other people. I'm not talking about taking shortcuts or spamming content sites. I'm talking about building a real business and offering a real product. And what I really liked about a lot of the speakers tonight is they sell a real product. And these are things that, to us, it's a crazy, crazy world we live in. Because the person that's in Iowa or California that's buying that jump rope has no idea that Mark is hanging out here at a coffee shop down the street, making these things. The person that's buying 300 tons of sugar has no idea that it's just this girl just traveling the world and being location dependent. But quickly you start to realize that being a digital nomad isn't just having a blog with some ads on it, or selling just random products. Digital nomads are actual entrepreneurs, and there are a ton of people just kicking butt out here. But here's the thing, is if you spend any time on Facebook forums or on any forums, especially in Thailand, you're gonna, there's gonna be so many people that say, oh no, that doesn't work, don't do that, or oh that, that's that business model is dead now. Oh, there's so many people on Amazon selling, it's impossible to make that work now. Or you hear this stuff all the time. Do you guys ever hear that? All right? Or like, oh yeah, that guy's just selling, whatever course. And here's the thing is, unfortunately, there is some crap out there. But there are also so many gems out there. And a lot of people standing on here kind of agree on the same thing. They all had a mentor, they all had a coach, they all took some kind of course. But the difference between them and the people that sit on forums and complain about it the whole time is they actually put in the work and built a business out of it. They took, the little bit of knowledge they needed, and then they built a big business with it. While the people that say it doesn't work, they're just gathering information. They're the ones that'll sign up for 26 courses, or they probably didn't even pay for any of them. They just download all these courses, and because they didn't pay for it, they don't actually get any value out of it, because they're like, oh, that's the next shiny object. Let me chase that one instead. So today's talk is about just picking something, almost anything, and just running with it full force and implementing it. Another example is my podcast, the Travel Like a Boss podcast. Has anyone here listened to it? Woo! All right. That was a random idea as well. I think I was meeting with some people for breakfast out here in Chiang Mai, and we had just said, I should make a podcast. It'd be fun. And the reason why I wanted to make a podcast was I meet all these cool location-independent entrepreneurs, all these digital nomads that are often here living in Chiang Mai for 2 months or 3 months and then leaving, or they're just traveling through. And I wanted first an excuse to sit down with them and just pick their brains and learn from them. Because even though I've now been good friends with a lot of people who have been on the stage today, I never really sat down and picked their brain about business. Or I know a little bit about what they do, but I never had them sit down for half an hour or 20 minutes and just teach me, this is what you do. So on the podcast, that's what it is. It's weekly interviews with different digital nomads or location-independent entrepreneurs that I meet. And I wanted to start that because I thought it was cool. I didn't know how many people were going to listen to it. A lot of people, I'm sure, if I asked enough, they would have said that's a bad idea. But I just said, I don't care, I'm just going to do it. All right? I had no idea how to start a podcast. I had no idea how to edit something. I didn't know where to upload it. I didn't know any of that. But I said, you know what? I think it's going to be a good idea. I think it'll be fun. Let me just try it. A week later, I had my first episode. Last month, we had 10,000 downloads, all right, per month. So if you think about it, but it's not even about that number. It's about, out of those 10,000 people downloading it per month, 2 or 3 move out to a place like Chiang Mai or start their own business in Belgium. And they message me saying, John, I just want to say thank you. I started an XYZ business in Germany, and now I quit my job. And that makes me so excited because there's a big, big chance that if I didn't accidentally stumble into this nomad community, or I didn't accidentally stumble into, I didn't meet a guy who taught me how to do online business, I wouldn't be standing here. I would be back at home, jaded and thinking, oh, nothing works. Oh, I tried, it didn't work. But I was so lucky. I was so fortunate that these little tiny circumstances led me to where I am now. And that's why I wanted to share it with everyone. That's why I really wanted everyone to be able to come to this seminar today. But remember, it was this close to not happening. If that 5th person I asked said it was a bad idea, maybe I wouldn't have done it. I would have been like, you know what, maybe it is a bad idea. But at the end of the day, just if you follow your gut and you're like, I know there's somebody, at least one person out there in the world that would benefit from my idea so much, or I know this is a viable business, right? Even if you didn't do any of the research. And there are ways to do keyword research, to use Google AdWord Planner, to go and look at the Amazon rankings to see how well things are ranking. But to be honest, the major 2 sources of income I have for both my dropshipping stores, I didn't do any research. All right, the first niche, I didn't have a VPN. You guys know what that is? Where you can basically, not be from Thailand, you can be in the US searching, so you can see what ads pop up. I searched my products and I was like, oh great, nobody's selling it. Right? There's no competition, awesome. But in my mind, I was like, I think this is a good idea. This is something that's a little bit hard to find at Target or at Home Depot or at any stores. People have to buy this online. And it seems like a product that people buy, because I had bought one when I was back in college. And I was like, okay, yeah, this will sell. And I ran with it, and it's been a year and a half, and so I've been posting these monthly income reports. Have you guys ever read that on my blog? It was so awkward to post the first one, because it's really putting your life out there. And I was so scared that people were gonna read it, and they're gonna judge me for it. You know, I was afraid that people were going to comment or look at me and say, oh, you're only making $7,000 a month, or you're only making $10,000 a month. Like, you know, you call yourself an entrepreneur. Or someone might be like, oh, I can't believe you do this, you know, like, you know, or they threaten you. They're like, oh, watch out, you shouldn't post all this stuff online. You should be, you know, be careful, be scared. There's all this, like, potential negative backlash of being that open and honest. But the upsides of it are so much more worth it. Because since I started doing that, first it forced me to really look at my own life and say, what can I scale? What can I do better? How can I grow? And it's almost like a challenge that you put out there in the world. Like if you tell the whole world and you start blogging about your weight loss challenge or your you know, a fitness challenge, you're gonna have to do it, because especially if you have an audience that's following you and they're seeing your progress. So you can't lie to yourself anymore. It also forces me to actually sit down and look to see what I actually earned. Which is, you know, is honestly one of those things that once you actually start having income, you kind of just let it go, and you don't even really sit down and optimize and implement. So by putting that out there, I was like, okay, what is the next step? All right, and so the second store that me and my girlfriend started, Larissa, is also a product that we didn't do any keyword research on. Like, we were just like, well, is this something that people buy online? Yeah, this seems like it. And how did we get that idea? All we did was we asked ourselves, I'm like, hey, you know, what have you bought online? Can you ask every single one of your friends? Can you Facebook every one of your friends? What have you bought online in the last, you know, 6 months? And we just asked people. Like when we were out for dinner with people, we were like, hey, you know, I'm just curious, what have you bought? And to me, these are the niches that if either I've used it personally or I bought it personally, or at least a friend of a friend has, to me that matters so much more than how many, you know, searches it gets per month on Google. But here's the thing, is both work. But if you go back and forth thinking, oh, that doesn't work because this is the only way, you won't do either of it. Or if you start doing something, and then you get this shiny object, you know, syndrome. You guys all heard of that? Right? You're like, oh, everyone's, you know, like, Facebook ads? Yeah, you know, maybe I should do that now. And you give up whatever you've been doing for the last 3 months. Every single person that's been up here has put in the actual work and has pushed forward to implement what their idea is. Not a single person up here is perfect, including myself, especially myself. But I really, really believe that the reason why I'm successful today is because I've messed up so many times. I loved Mark's talk about how he was 39 and a half and had to start over at 40. You know, I loved when people open up and they're like, I wasn't happy. And that was me. You know, I thought I had figured out the whole thing. I moved out here to Thailand 5 years ago. And I had read Tim Ferriss's book, and that's what changed, you know, that's what gave me that first courage. All right, you guys all read The 4 Hour Work Week? Yeah. All right. And it was that one book that sparked it, and I was like, you know what? If this guy can do it, I can do it. So I came out here and I taught scuba diving. I did some Muay Thai, met guys like Ben. And then about a year and a half ago, I was like, well, turning, you know, I think I was 30 already, and I was like, turning 31. I was like, I'm broke. I want to make this digital nomad thing happen. I want to make money online. I had no idea how. And I was like, let me just try something. So for the once in my life, I set a goal. You know, I said, let me write a book. I had a blog about going to Muay Thai camps, all right? And I didn't know how many people were searching for it. I didn't do any keyword research. I just figured that would have really helped me if I was moving out for the first time. It would really help me if I wrote, you know, what's the average training prices or the cost of living in a gym in Phuket versus a gym in Koh Tao or in Chiang Mai. And that was, that was my first kind of taste of online business. And but what that did, that opened the next door, right? I started networking with entrepreneurs. And you guys are very, very lucky that we have events like this nowadays. We have the hashtag Nomad chat. We have the Nomad list. We have the Facebook Chiang Mai Digital Nomads group. We have these events. But even a year and a half ago when I got started, we didn't have any of that. I met my mentor off of, what was it? Couch surfing maybe? Or like, it was there's like, sorry. All right, but like these tools are so available now. But here's the thing is, by having more tools, it doesn't necessarily make it easier. Because now you get so scatterbrained, all right? The amount of information that you guys all took in today, if you actually try to do every single one of those things, it's gonna take you 10 years. My advice is to pick one path and say, what is the one thing that I wanna do that'll make me feel good, that'll make me feel successful, that'll make me happy. And just like some of the speakers mentioned, don't compare yourself to others where they are, because you will never, ever be happy. A year and a half ago, my goal was to make $600 a month online. And the reason for that was my expenses living in Chiang Mai. That's 18,000 baht. And I said, if I can make that, I can live here forever and I'll be happy. And I was so excited when my Kindle books, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I made $600 this month online. I can live here forever. And some of you guys laugh, but at the same time, I bet you there's at least one person in this room who's just starting out thinking, you know what, that is my goal too. I would love to be able to just replace my income and be able to stay out here, right? Now my goal, so my goal for a while was like, I want to save 30K in the bank. And that way I know if something happens, at least I have a cash reserve where I can take a break for a year or rebuild another business. And then my goal was, I was like, I want to make 10,000 a month online. And I was like, okay, that'll be the next goal. And then now it's a bigger goal. And every time I hit it, it's so tempting to compare yourself with others and be like, oh, I'm a loser still, I'm not doing well. But it's never, ever going to be good enough. Or is it good enough already right now? All right? And I really, really, truly believe that wherever you are in your journey, on your path, as long as you're moving forward and you're saying, you know what, I am going to implement. I'm going to take the things I learned today and I'm going to do something about it. All right? And every single person here is going to be at a different part. One talk that really blew my mind, a lot of people actually were saying, like, I still don't know what she does. All right, is what? All right? It's, drop shipping sugar. And a lot of people were like, I don't even know what she sells. I don't understand what she's talking about. But in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna drop ship sugar. Maybe not sugar, but what that did was I asked myself, I'm like, why am I selling these $200 items online? Which when I started with a year and a half ago, I was like, I don't even know if someone's gonna buy something for $200 online. Like, aren't people gonna be scared to use a credit card? Order something that big. And then I started selling items that are $1,000. And I was like, I can't believe people are actually buying this. Right? And me and Larissa had just started listing products that are $7,000 to $30,000 online. And the thing is, people need to buy things. Why not from you? And with Natalie's talk, I was starting thinking, I was like, you know what? It's exactly the same as Leon's talk and everyone's talk, that they're saying, think bigger. Think of the bigger picture. The skills that we've learned from, literally all the skills that we learned from even running a blog, running a YouTube channel, running a dropshipping store, running, an Amazon site, a Facebook page, whatever these are, these can all be used to our advantage in no matter what we sell. So instead of trying to make a couple bucks here and there or selling, these small products, why not sell 34 of the, of the $25 products a day like Mark's doing? Or why not sell one of the $300,000 product that Natalie's selling? And even if it takes her 2 months or 6 months to close that deal, if she's closing a deal for 300 tons of sugar, it's millions of dollars. And I don't know if a lot of people even got that at the time, because I know there's some questions about like profit margins and things like that. But in my mind, I'm like, even if she's making 5% on a $3 million sugar order, that's a lot of money. All right. So if you guys took anything from today's talk, trust in yourself. All right. Figure out, pick something. It does not have to be perfect. Nobody is perfect, or we already are perfect. It doesn't matter. Just choose it and just go for it. And I guarantee you, as long as you put in the effort, don't doubt yourself, keep moving forward, a year from now, you're going to be so much better off. Thank you guys all for coming.